throw your life away on, with Andrew Reed and the Liberation. It's a serious question, one worth pondering. Am I living the life I want, an intelligent life, or something else? How can I have a better experience of life? These are some of the questions explored in this series of messages without the brag and the advertisement, getting beyond even human institutions and society, into the wilderness, nature, the reality of how life actually operates on this planet. These messages range from intimate recordings from the awakened forest to concerts, national conferences, and broadcasts on a wide array of philosophical topics.
Here I am in the awakened forest on a Sunday after a great storm passed through, knocked out the power. I wake up in a low energy state, which is often the pattern after I've been on the road doing my events, and you never know who's going to awake. The high energy guy, the low energy guy, the melancholy guy, the delightful happy guy. But I know this, all of these are good. And I have to question, why do I do these podcasts, these messages? I do them with some trepidation. I don't need any more money success. I don't need any fame success. I don't need people greeting me when I come off the road in a weary state and they're camping out in my front door. I don't need, and I think that's the whole point. So why? Why? What is the purpose behind this? And the answer is, I don't know. I can't articulate why. I just feel that inherently, I feel or intuit that there's something good about sharing. And I know how revolutionary, and the revolutions that have been erupted in my life because of the exposure to ideas and images of how I could experience life. And as I go on really relentlessly pursuing life, pursuing knowledge, you might say, I find that as I advance these ideas, these images, add layer upon layer upon layer of richness to my experience of life. As I sit here in nature in the awakened forest, the wind whips. It's like the drying out effect after the heavy rains. The delight of just the change, the constant movement of time. I wake up, there is no power. So I can't have my coffee. I can't sit on my fine leather couch and play guitar. I can't do that. Those things are different. So there's a disruption of pattern. So therefore, I put on my boots, I put on my pack, I put in my writing utensils, whatever, and I walk down the trail to get some coffee as I perceive that I can make it via some propane and the benefit of a lovely French press. What do I notice? I notice an eruption of activity down at the smallest of the three ponds, or I should say the two ponds and the lake. And I go down there and I find this orgy of frogs doing their thing with no regard that it's Sunday, it's a holy day. And I go, wow, that's incredible, that's amazing. And I further trek to the game house, this place that's, again, essentially a monument dedicated to experiencing life as game and play, recognizing the duality of sides, basically recognition of the electromagnetic nature of the universe, that it's just not a pull universe, that it's a push and pull universe of cause and effect and the personal will, again, satisfying that mathematical equation of life that somehow we have to reconcile. And I get there, and again, in a low state, coming off the road, actually feeling a little bit of vertigo, which has been a part of my life whenever I've experienced overoccupation. And there's an eruption of just divine thought and energy and beautiful things, divine illumination or divine intelligence, however you want to language it. And these are just unpredictable things, and further deepen my belief that the fundamental energy of the universe is that of entertainment, of excitement, of drama, and the running from boredom. If you hear intellectual discourses in the background, that's because that's what I surround myself all the time, just to gain insight into people that I respect, into their minds. And I think this is a huge aspect of cultivating your mind, your perception of the world, and with all its obvious benefits from doing that. And so the fundamental energy of the universe, that of entertainment, excitement, drama, as well as the realization that the point of life, or the foundation, I should say, of the universe is you. And you don't have to look any further outside of anything, is that you are here to experience life from a certain perspective, from a certain view that only you can create. And that no other person, no other thing, no other consciousness has exactly the same perspective as you do. And thus, in doing you, in doing your thing in this world, you are absolutely 100% completing your part in the design of life, this intelligent design of the universe and how it operates. And recognizing, again, pattern, and that you are an ever-changing patterns. No pattern stays the same. They change really little by little, organically, or I should say in an agricultural pace of this constant layering or richening of your experience of life. Again, it would be ridiculous for us to have the same views about life at 50 as we had at the age of 7. No, our experience informs us more and more and more. But the issue is that we become hypnotized by society. You know, basically the consensus of societal opinion. And to be brave is to perhaps challenge those and say, you know, let me set aside all of the ideals of society, all of that which I've been taught, and let me think for myself. That's a very bold move. Very difficult for most people to do. Usually people have to take themselves out of society into the wilderness experience, like most shamans and holy people and what have you, through this process of discovery to find out what is the truth or the ultimate truth, which is probably a preposterous idea, ultimate, because that means there's an end, and no things have ends. Nothing is just like a dead end. All things are infinite, at least in my understanding thus far. And so to think for ourselves is a grand notion. To live an authentic life, to become the realized human being, the person that has reconciled both evil and good, both the dark side and the light side, that experiences life as a whole rather than a half-life, and is thus frustrated because our equation doesn't seem to work out. So why do these podcasts? Why do these messages? I don't know. And I think that's a very good answer. Because anyone that says that they do know, knows not, right? Isn't that what the wise people that preceded us say? To know is to not know. And to say, I do not know, is to know. And thus introducing this idea that it's okay to accept or relinquish at least this idea or desire for control, which is an illusion. And somehow get with the idea as the jet goes over. I've been on too many of those. But get with the idea that it is good to plan. It is good to attempt to have control and to direct something. But there's always going to be this other element of the unknown, the unsuspected, the surprise that is going to be introduced that creates this drama and excitement in life, and accept that that's the game. And thus you end up with this coolness, this unfazed approach to life. But even with that stated, nobody wants to live the unfazed life. It's great if you're suffering or you have what you feel is an imbalance of chaos and suffering and anxiety over life that you can't control it. That's great. That's groovy. But you must realize that on some level you want that change. You want to have the prospect of a better tomorrow. So, with the cultivation of your mind, surrounding yourself with ideas or an environment that cultivates the unfazed life, or I'll say a relatively more controlled life, is a great thing. But again, if it was all unfazed, like everything was, that's so nice, that's so bad, I could have predicted that, that's the natural. Well, that's great, but at a certain point, that kind of flatlines. And it's like, God, I need something that really shakes me up here. I need something that just levels my foundations or my ideas about how things work. And it's only in those times of great pressing, of great stressing, that growth is possible. We need the manure of life. We need that dark side. We need the naughty to be introduced, to bring things to life and to give life poignancy, just like death. We know that the great certainty will occur at some point. And what does that inform us to do? Well, to get on with it. Like, hey, I need to actually live my life. And, oh my God, I'm living a life, living according to dictates by society. And that's not what I want. And I think about this in relation to my kids. I have one surviving child, my daughter. I've lost two. And I think, what is the greatest gift I could give? What is perhaps the greatest thing I could pass on to my kids? And perhaps it's this: that if she knows I lived a great life, I did what I wanted, I accomplished what I felt was worth giving my life to, that I lacked nothing that I acquired what I wanted. That enables, in my case, my daughter, to not regret anything, to not have any guilt or say, boy, I feel so bad for my dad. He never got this or whatever. But in fact, she can think and have that warm feeling that my dad lived a great life, that he did what he wanted to do. He was happy with his life. He died without any regrets. Isn't that a great legacy to pass on to someone? That you actually lived, that you actually contributed, and in doing so, you passed on an example, an image, or something of value to those that came subsequently, or to those that you love. And perhaps not only will they not have guilt or regret or a feeling of sadness for the person that passed on, but they have actually an image or an ideal of how to perhaps live their life, and can summon the courage to say, no, society's telling me to do this, that this is defined as success, but I want to do this. I want to throw my life away on this particular move or venture or aspiration. Maybe that's the point. Just to live a life of inspiration for yourself first, because your life has, again, it flows out of you. It starts inside, the kingdom of God within, flows outside of you, and if it delights you, it gives off energy that inspires others. And if they, in turn, live a spectacular life because of your contribution to their life, then I think that's a splendid thing.
Thank you for listening. If you need anything further, just go to mbi.life.